Day 11 is now in the books for G1Climax30, and we look forward to day 12, and we continue to see who will be the one. And there are only literally, after today, 8 days left of G1Climax30 action. Who will take it all? Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good night, konnichiwa to you all. My name is Noah Foster, and I am just a simple man. And welcome once again to another simple review / preview of G1Climax30, as we just completed day 11 of action in Hiroshima for A block, and tomorrow, day 12, gives us B block action from Okayama. With that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Today, of course, was A block action, but of course, we start off with our unofficial C block of the G1 as the young lions continue to duke it out. And today it was Yota Tsuji and Gabriel Kidd. Considering Gabriel Kidd was already down below Uya Yamera and Yota Tsuji, I really thought that he needed the win right here. But to my surprise, lightning did not strike twice. Sure, he pulled out that double arm superplex for the wins over both Yuya and Yota respectively to finally put himself on the board. But it looks like he couldn't pull it off here, as Yota Tsuji, he got the man to tap out to a Boston Crab after spiriting him in the next week, literally under 7 minutes. So right now, Yota Tsuji and Uya Yamera, they both are right now above Gabriel Kidd in this tour. So Gabriel Kidd is definitely going to have to figure some stuff out here, with each man now having one draw. And I believe Yota Tsuji now up to 4, Uya at 3, and Kidd at 2. Kidd right now is definitely in the toughest part of this tour. And I really wonder right now how is he going to bounce back. Anyway, sorry, I'm having an issue with my browser here, trying to bring up my notes. Okay, so moving on from there, like I said, we go into, my brain is foggy. I did not get out of bed till 2 o'clock this afternoon. We move on into the G1Climax30 action for A block, and it kicked off with Yujiro Takahashi, the only man across the entire G1 with 0, taking on Stone Pitbull Tomohiro Ishii. Despite my thoughts on this match, I will say that Yujiro, he really put up a great fight against the Stone Pitbull, really digging down deep. However, Tomohiro Ishii, he was constantly able to counter the Tokyo Pimp's offense, whether or not it was from a reverse DDT onto the concrete of the entranceway to a power slam, center of the ring for near 2 count. And then literally Ishii, he comes back towards the end, and basically he delivers a wicked headbutt and then sliding lariat follow-up. As this match progresses, there was a couple of moments here where Yujiro, I thought, was really going to get the win, a couple of really close near falls. As we get towards the end of the match, though, a ridiculous headbutt, and then after a Miami Shine, I always screw that up, Shine, I almost say Shrine, which Yujiro nearly got the victory here. I was about to say, no way. But then again, he did beat Tomohiro Ishii back in 2012 for the Never Openweight title. Of course, it was a different type theme, too, the All Night Long theme. Maybe that's what he needs. And Pita, too. Anyway, as the match continued towards its conclusion, he tries to go for pinches, but it doesn't happen, as we get a German suplex, which basically puts the match right now dead even. Ishii then fires back with a jumping high kick, similar to Taiji, and then literally he connects with a Lariato. But as he tries to hoist Yujiro up for his finisher, the vertical drop brainbuster, Yujiro once again, he finds a way to counteract it and plants Ishii on the mat. And then as we continue, he goes finally for pimp juice, but then a rising headbutt stops that dead in its tracks. And literally we get the vertical drop brainbuster at the very end that gives Ishii his 3rd win. 1, 2, 3, and Yujiro stays at 0. So Tomohiro Ishii goes up to 6 points while Yujiro stays at 0. Tough break for the Tokyo Pimp, but I feel like he's opening eyes to what he could potentially bring in the G1 Climax. And again, you figured his biggest motivation was just because he wanted Okada. You really wonder, can this man actually pull off a win against somebody? Remaining competitors include Kota Ibushi, Jeff Cobb, Jay White. Now, I don't know about y'all, but Jay White versus Yujiro Takahashi, that could be the biggest upset of the year and the biggest change in Bullet Club momentum. I'm not saying that's going to be his win, but I'm just saying that's probably the biggest match left Yujiro actually has. because there's no way he's just going to lay down for Jay White. Bullet Club don't do that, even for their glorious leader. Good opening match, though. Following that, we move on to Jeff Cobb versus Kazuchika Okada, first time singles encounter. And once again, Jeff Cobb, he showcases his not only incredible strength and grappling capability, but his power as well. Really working on Okada's lower back after a delayed vertical suplex, and Okada was feeling that for most of this match, followed up by a neck breaker from Okada to counteract the strength and momentum of Jeff Cobb, and finally trying to place in the money clip his Cobra Clutch submission. But then basement drop kick basically left Cobb on the mat as well because he couldn't fully lock in the money clip. Cobb created an opening though, evading Okada's back elbow, which he does off the ropes and tries to run through his opponent. And then power took over for Jeff Cobb with an overhead belly to belly, flinging him into the other corner. And we're only at the 5-minute mark at this point. And then moving on from there, Okada, he basically gets a back elbow finally on Cobb, but then a big boot was basically met by the Olympian with hilarious. Cobb seemed to be thoroughly in control, showcasing his grappling capability. But in the end, after some gut-wrench suplexes and a power bomb into that spin cycle, how he pulls that out of nowhere and just really just rotates his opponent. Absolutely amazing, Jeff Cobb. And then following this, he goes for Tour of the Eyes, but that was stopped with Okada's trademark drop kick, one of the most vicious, effective drop kicks in Okada's arsenal and in all pro wrestling. Truly one of the only things left, I feel, of traditional Okada. And then basically Okada finally locks in the money clip for a moment, but he was unable to hold on to it as Cobb got free. He was able to hit a drop kick of his own and then literally attempted Rainmaker style Tour of the Islands, including Rainmaker pole. I was like, whoa. Now you wonder if he's trying to just push this out of Okada, because again, Okada has not yet used the Rainmaker, and he didn't use it here in this match, even though he claimed victory, as he did get the better of Jeff Cobb after countering Tour of the Islands with an inside cradle for a 2, but then a back body drop, holds legs in place, and a flash pinfall win again, twice in a row. Same with Minoru Suzuki. Okada basically just pulls it out. It was not a dominant victory whatsoever. Okada just basically endured, survived, and used instincts to thrive. Okada moves forward in this now. He is up to 8 points, while Jeff Cobb remains at 4. I just keep saying the same thing, though, over and over and over again. Where is the Okada that we all know? When is the Rainmaker going to come back? When is he going to use it? His last couple of wins have literally been off flash pins. His money clip has not even gotten him to victory. Okada, you need to go back to what brought you to the dance, my friend. I need to see the Rainmaker Lariat before this G1 ends. And personally, I hope it happens. Because right now, he is a very firm spot to win this whole thing. And at first, I thought you could count him out for dead. But no, not really. Anyway, moving on from there, a very interesting first time ever one-on-one encounter as we had the King, Gasa Ninare, Minoru Suzuki, taking on Will Ospreay. Apologies, by the way, for the technical difficulties in the beginning, folks. I'm working with Zoom, which I find is easier to record and upload, but also there are some issues with my other monitor. I need to change that cord. Anyway, this was a very interesting match, and both men, they did not start out slow. They went right out of the gate like a cannon, sending blows to each other, and then we finally go to the outside of the ring, where, of course, Minoru Suzuki, he will capitalize, similar to how he basically took on Okada, literally trapping the aerial assassin's leg into a Fujiwara armbar on the floor before wrapping Ospreay's arm, not leg, arm into the ring post. And then basically Suzuki is just taunting Ospreay, baiting him to come in and throw hands. You throw hands at the King, you better make sure it's the toughest throw you ever give, because he will knock your ass out. And of course the King did that. He knocked out Will Ospreay. And as this match continued, basically both these men are just willing into each other. There was an octopus stress follow-up, and Suzuki literally wrenching the right arm as well as the adamant in this hold, really testing basically Will Ospreay's will and body, his flexibility. Yeesh, bodies are not supposed to bend that way. And Ospreay, almost said Okada, Ospreay just grabs the ropes to escape out of this and brought himself some time with his traditional handspring kick. Then we get another forearm exchange, and Ospreay once again, he falls to the King. You don't trade forearms. You don't trade strikes with the King unless you know you can hold up with him. And Ospreay has never been one-on-one in the ring with the King. And once again, he falls to the King's furious onslaught. And following that, the King wrenches the right arm again, with the Fujiwara armbar, as the right arm barely seems to be even usable at this point. Suzuki remains on the offense, attacking the arm, and once again, he traps the aerial assassin with throwing injured rights. He did not use his left. Ospreay, not a very smart move. Ospreay seemed to have very little left, literally fighting with one arm, it seems. But he finally connects with a springboard forearm and literally scores the hook kick. And then Suzuki, though, he goes right back to the arm. You lay his arm, forcing Ospreay to throw left elbows to the King's head. Now he finally uses his left thing. And then as this continues, there was one stiff shot that did actually connect with the King. And then Ospreay goes for a Os cutter, but he gets caught in a sleeper. And I think this is it. This is it. This is when it's over. No, he finds his way out of it. Then Suzuki, he ducks the hidden blade. I swear people just know that's coming on instinct alone. Drops Ospreay before sinking in the snap around sleeper again, goes for the Gosh style power driver follow-up. However, it was prevented as Ospreay found a way to get out of that to set up Suzuki in the Stormbreaker and get the win. Will Ospreay beats the King. 1, 2, 3. This was a very impressive match, but a very taxing test for the aerial assassin. And now, honestly, you could say that Will Ospreay, he has rights to maybe challenge for the never overweight title. But then again, Will Ospreay is also the British heavyweight champion. You imagine that Minoru Suzuki will probably go after that one day too. And right now, the score stands. Minoru Suzuki stays at 6. Will Ospreay is also now a block leader at this point with 8. And considering, again, we know his finale, he has Okada, but he also has to take on Taiji and Jeff Cobb. We'll have to wait and see how this goes because, folks, there's only 3 matches left for everybody in this block. Yujiro Takahashi is completely eliminated. Jeff Cobb is basically, at this point, you have to count him out. The most he can get is 10 if he's lucky. So right now, it really comes down to those with 6 points and more having a fighting chance. But really, I feel like it just comes down to those that end the night with 8. So right now, you got Okada, you got Ospreay. Let's keep going and see who else is also ahead of the pack. As we move on into a G1 climax we mentioned from last year as the Holy Emperor. And my block pick to win. Taiji, he takes on the Switchblade, Jay White. And this was about as typical a heelish type match as you would expect. Jay White, of course, he literally sits in the corner as Taiji performs among us, taking in the performance and giving him an applause, you know, just going along with it. And then Jay White basically took him all over the place thanks to get-up distractions. And literally the match was really slowed down to begin with as Taiji slowly takes off his robe. Neither man really engaged each other to begin with. Psychological warfare, mind games. And then the match finally begins on the outside, with White getting the advantage at first, taunting Taiji with his own mic. Hey, sing for us, sing for us. But the Holy Emperor stopped White's momentum as well, with, again, his most effective counter to stop someone's momentum, those high kicks. Jeez, in the corner. Stop Jay White's momentum dead in his tracks. But then the Switchblade cut Taiji off and targeted his knee. And then he goes for an axe bomber to the back of White's head, and it hits the mark. And then a second one, axe bomber, secures the first near fall for Taiji. Not quite enough, as the Hiroshima crowd was getting behind the Holy Emperor. Again, only clapping, they can't speak, and safety first and all that type of stuff. As this match continues, we find that, excuse me, that Taiji basically still have White in his grasp, but then a deadlift German suplex denied with a ridiculous Uranagi counter by Jay White. The match is stopped again. We're on even playing field. And then we go for a Blade Runner attempt, countered into the dangerous backdrapu. And then after exchange of kicks, a Kamaguri found its mark, and then both men literally found themselves on their feet. And then Gato was just, at this point, going ballistic, wondering what was happening here. He confronted Taiji, who basically attempted to go for the Gato clutch. But of course, the ref was distracted at this point, though he could have won. And then there was a low blow for Gato's troubles. Hey, Gato, you get involved with Taiji, this is what happens to you. And then Taiji once again applies a hold on Jay White for a 2 count. Dadgummit, this only works, it seems, so far on the Tokyo Pimp. And then as this match continues, Gato's at ringside. Taiji got off a last ride. And then, wait for it. The pants come off, and the match goes into another gear. And then following that, he goes for the kill at the 15-minute mark with that kick but misses. Then goes for his finisher, Black Mephisto. After the two try to exchange for their finishers, somehow Jay White found a way out of the Black Mephisto and got him with the Blade Runner out of nowhere for Jay White to win 1, 2, 3. Damn it. And Jay White now is a block leader while Taiji remains at 6. This to me was a very pinnacle win, as these two, in my opinion, are two of the top tier picks to win this entire block. Taiji's still my pick as well. But then, of course, you still have the likes of Will Ospreay, Kota Ibushi. And I also have to figure about, in this case, Jay White has yet to face Tomohiro Ishii. Taiji faced Tomohiro Ishii, but he lost to him. So this could be potentially a tiebreaker as well. Jay White has to face Minoru Suzuki, while Taiji got the brand Minoru Suzuki. Can Jay White do the same thing? There's another potential tiebreaker there. And then you also think about the fact that Yujiro could maybe play spoiler in his leader's own way. I mean, it's a wild thought, but it's something to consider because that's coming up. But I really enjoyed this match, and so far it was a very competitive back-forth match. I can't blame Gato for holding Mio Abe because she wasn't there this time, but history repeats, Jay White beats Taiji again. Dang it. Following that, we go into our main event and another first time ever one-on-one encounter. I cannot believe these two have not faced each other before this time. As Rampage Dragon, Shingo Takagi took on Golden Star, Kota Ibushi. And these two were basically filling out each other as far as stiff strikes and kicks goes, because it basically came down to Shingo Takagi's lariat and striking capability versus Kota Ibushi's kicking and striking capability. And this match really picked up as we went around the 5-minute mark, as these two were filling out each other and we had a subtle exchange. And at this point, it was a stalemate. Things really picked up, though, when Ibushi got a drop kick and applied pressure with stiff blows following that. That sent Shingo into the corner, and then pace really quickened from here. But Shingo caught Ibushi and dropped him over the top rope before delivering a lariat that sent Ibushi to the outside. And Takagi followed up with that with a tirete on the floor. As we head back inside, Takagi keeps up the onslaught of offense with his speed, with his lariats, with his stiff right arm, angering Kota Ibushi. And literally Golden Star comes back with the standing moonsault dive to the floor. And literally Takagi, he was at this point trying to figure out how do I counteract this? How do I put the match back into my favor? He gets another lariat and turns Ibushi inside out, followed up with no Gami, he tried that like twice, finally hit like the third time for a 2 count. As this continued, Takagi continued to bring his speed and power into play with a snap backdrop, but Ibushi responded with a snapdragon suplex of his own, honestly on pure instinct. And then the test of speed resulted in both men at a tie, and the two just literally pit against each other. Kota, his kicks, Shingo's, his strikes. The sound of these blows and kicks, you could hear it throughout the entire building. And then literally what I had to call the Shingo combo, you know, the jab, the bump in the elbow, and the stiff lariat, put the match back in Shingo's favor. And then we got a German suplex attempt, but Ibushi lands on his feet. How does he do that? And delivers a kick of his own to the back of the head of Shingo Takagi, followed by a sit-out last ride for a 2 count. Not enough. It's interesting, at this point, I thought Ibushi was going to channel maybe that dark fluke state. It never came into play in this match. As this match continues, we get a pop-up DVD out of nowhere as he tries to go for Kamigoye pretty early. Ibushi, though, he finds his way up, got wrist control, and again, there's headbutts. Why do people challenge each other with headbutts? And then a Made in Japan out of nowhere for a 2 count. Then following that, he goes for the kill again with another finisher, Pumping Bomber. 2 back-to-back finishers, 2 back-to-back kickouts at 2. And then the crowd is literally getting behind both these men. Who's going to take the advantage? Who's going to win at this point? As we are now in the 20-minute to 30-minute area. We're past the 20-minute mark. And Shingo just throws more lariatos Ibushi's way. But Kota Ibushi, he responds with a lariat of his own, channeling his own type of Kamehameha type power with that forearm. And then literally removes his knee pad to go for Bumbaye, which scores him for a 2 count. Then he goes for the kill with Kamigoye. It doesn't work, as Shingo, he basically grabs the left wrist, counters it into the one finisher he hasn't used yet, Last of the Dragon. And Shingo Takagi has beaten Kota Ibushi 1, 2, 3, and moves up to 6 points, while Kota Ibushi remains at 8. To think, last time we had a black action, Kota Ibushi was the sole leader, and now we have literally a 4-way tie for first place, and 4 other competitors that are very much still alive in this thing. And then you got Jeff Cobb and Yujiro Takahashi, but especially Yujiro. really good, competitive, fast, furious, physically taxing main event here. I would love to see these two face each other again in the very near future. I can't believe it took this long for these two to finally lock up in singles action. With that being said, that was the end of A Block action, and our score stands as follows. Kota Ibushi sits at 8, Jeff Cobb sits at 4, Okada sits at 8, Tomohiro Ishii sits at 6, Will Ospreay sits at 8, Shingo Takagi sits at 6, Minoru Suzuki sits at 6, Taiji sits at 6, and Jay White sits at 8, and Yujiro sits at 0. So again, I think it's safe to say that the G1's over for both Yujiro and Jeff Cobb, but they can definitely play as a spoiler maker here, if you think about it. And when I look at our leaders, Kota, Okada, Ospreay, White, I still think that Taiji has a chance, even though he's down at 6. And he's the one I would definitely look at the most with 6 points, while the others have 8. I think about these guys with 8 points, and Jay White, and let's see here, he still has to face Tomohiro Ishii. Jay White Minoru Suzuki could be a deciding factor here. It almost seems like Jay White might have a clean run because you think Yujiro, piece of cake. And then I look at Ospreay's run here. He has Okada at the very end. He also has to take on Taiji, who could definitely play a spoiler maker here. And Okada has fellow Chaos member Tomohiro Ishii. These two are no strangers to each other. Fellow Chaos member Ospreay in the finals. And also, for the first time ever, Shingo Takagi in singles action. Can Shingo Takagi defeat the former IWGP heavyweight champion and stop Okada in his tracks on his way towards the end? And then I think about the rivalry of rivalries for me in New Japan Pro Wrestling, one of many. Taiji and Ibushi is coming up in the finale too, and that could be the difference with maybe Taiji spoiling Kota Ibushi winning, or Taiji maybe tying in the end and winning by some odd tiebreaker, because I never know which tiebreaker essentially they go with towards the end. With that being said, before we talk about tomorrow's action, let me just go ahead and highlight what Shingo said at the end as we went off the air with backstage commentary too, as Chris Charlton translates. If you don't follow that reason, JP, yet, I highly suggest you do. He provides great live coverage, and I appreciate his translations too. So Shingo said this: "That was a tough one. It really was, but I think Ibushi feels the same as me. That was damn fun. You can't catch yourself doing this, but I had flashbacks to that tag we had 10 years ago in there when we faced off. Couldn't help smiling. But I wanted to give a win tonight. We've been on different paths for 10 years plus, but now we finally met. Like I said, in the ring. This was big. Beating Ospreay was big, but I lost the next one. Next is Okada. Okada, your back's all taped. What's up? You hurt? Big deal. That's the business. I haven't wrestled a match not hurt since my debut. That's a wrestler's life. You not using the Rainmaker? Are you taking the piss or trying to elevate your game? I don't care. Either way, I got the Ryukun and the pumping bomber. Right or left, you're taking an arm of mine to the head. I don't think I faced Okada one-on-one. Come at me with all you have. Otherwise, my win won't mean much. I've spoken enough." Well, considering Shingo Takagi's finisher, one of his most effective finishers is a lariat pumping bomber. Is this the guy to challenge Okada lariat for lariat, bring Okada to forcefully use the Rainmaker to put away Rampage Dragon? We'll have to wait and see, but I'm extremely looking forward to this match. And maybe, just maybe, Shingo will do the Rainmaker pulse and put Okada down with his own Rainmaker that Okada might kick out furiously and literally go at Rampage Dragon with his own. Folks, let's face it, we need the Rainmaker back. That's all I have to say. Okada, you better be at your best, or I think this match is going to be your downfall to your G1. Just saying. With that being said, that was day 11. Let's go ahead and look at tomorrow morning's action for day 12. That's again this week stint, it seems, of G1 action every day practically. Good Lord. And I've been watching it live every time too. I'm talking about my dedication as a fan or my craziness. You judge me as you wish. Tomorrow morning, action continues for the B block, October 8th, 2 a.m. Pacific time, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, even earlier than today, and 10 a.m. British Standard Time. Let's go ahead and look at the matches. As we start off with the C block, the Young Lions. Uemura takes on Gabriel Kidd, who really needs a win now. Uemura currently stands 3 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw this tour, while Gabriel Kidd stands at 2 wins, 4 losses, one draw this tour. And in singles action overall between these two, it's been 4-1 in Umaira's favor, 2-1 on this tour alone. You wonder right now, is Gabriel Kidd going for back-to-back losses again? And are we going to repeat the cycle where maybe he gets the two back-to-back again using that double arm suplex? Then I think about Uya Uemura, who recently just came off a draw with Yota Tsuji, and those two welled into each other. Yota Tsuji was able to tap out Gabriel Kidd to a Boston Crab. Can Uya Uemura do the same thing? What will be the deciding factor here, a Boston Crab or a double arm suplex? In my opinion, I think right now, Gabriel Kidd has to get this win. But something about this right now, Gabriel Kidd wants to be stronger. I don't think he's strong enough. And I feel like right now that Uya Uemura is going to get the best of Gabriel Kidd and go up there with his buddy Yota Tsuji also to 4 points. And Gabriel Kidd really will have to dig deep to get out of this deficit. But right now, as far as this Young Lions run, I see it coming down to the NJPW boys in the end. Sorry, kid. That's just my opinion. I don't see a draw, that's for sure. Moving on from there, we go into Hiroki Goto versus Yoshihashi. Excuse me. As Hiroki Goto currently sits at 4 points after getting the fastest G1 Climax win in history against Toru Yano. He takes on Yoshihashi, who has 2 points. Both these men are, of course, 2/3 of the 6-man Never Overweight Tag Team Champions. The only other time these two have faced each other was one other G1 in 2017, where Goto got the win. So, I look at it this way. I look at how far this match might go because I still wonder what is the extent of Goto's injury to his shoulder. And if Yoshihashi exploits that with the butterfly lock, it could be a very easy win for Yoshihashi. So just based on that type of statistic alone, I feel like Yoshihashi's going to pull out the win here and force Goto to tap out verbally. I don't see the rest of in this match, but I think that Yoshihashi's going to surpass Goto in this match. I think the Headhunter is going to pull out the win. Maybe karma, but I feel like he's definitely going to exploit that arm. And again, they're Chaos Bros. They're going to be all about respect as well. But again, if you can exploit your opponent's injury, that definitely helps lead you to victory. So with that, I'm saying Yoshihashi picks up the victory here. Which leads me now to Toru Yano, oh Lord, with 6 points versus Zack Sabre Jr. with 4 points. Zack Sabre Jr., of course, coming off a loss to Sonata, but he said that the bloody pirate beat me with a freaking flip. Of all things, a flip. And he wants to challenge him best of 437 series. Hey, I'll watch the two wrestle each other every day of the year. I don't care. As far as this match goes, 2018 was the last time these two met in singles action, and the only other time they met in singles action, as Toru Yano lost to Zack Sabre Jr. So I feel like right now we've seen all the ridiculousness and all the victories we're going to see out of Toru Yano, and I don't think I see Zack Sabre Jr. being the most cautious in sportsmanship. If he loses to Toru Yano, I see him blowing a gasket. So with that being said, considering the tricks we know that Toru Yano is going to try and pull here, I don't see this going just 18 seconds, but I see Zack Sabre Jr. somehow causing Toru Yano to basically tap out again. I'm going with Zack Sabre Jr. for the win here. And we'll see if it's enough to defeat the so-called YTR. This dude, though, good grief. Freaking headache and migraine alike. Zack Sabre Jr. just break his arm and move on. That's all I have to say about that. Anyway, we move on from there to a very interesting match I'm looking forward to. As Sonata, Cold Skull, sitting at 4 points, takes on Kenta, also sitting at 4 points. And they've only met each other one at a time in last year's G1, where Sonata beat him. And this was one of those better matches of Sonata and Kenta's run, respectively, last year in the G1. I look at the fact that Sonata started with 0-3 deficit, and so far he is 2 for 2. I look at Kenta, who's had a pretty much mixed run, recently losing now to the Ace and Evil. So you got to think right now, all these people he's losing to, they could possibly challenge him for that briefcase. You wonder if that may be playing on his mind psychologically. I think about Sonata here, who has the skull in. I think about Kenta here, who has the game over. But I've also seen now Sonata has his own modified Destino, while Kenta has the go to sleep. This match can truly go either way, and I could see this really going the distance, being the longest match of the night so far. So I think it comes down more so to who is more motivated, who's going to do more to win, and is it going to work in their favor? We know that Kenta is going to try and use that briefcase, but we know Sonata, he wears emotion on his sleeve, doesn't show it, but he also wants to do the best he can by his role models. With that being said, this is going to be interesting. And I feel like momentum right now favors Sonata. So I'm going to continue with Cold Skull here and say Sonata pulls out the win. I think he's not going to necessarily cause Kenta to tap out. I think he's going to cause Kenta basically to beat him via pinfall. He could get him out of nowhere maybe with clutch. He could get him maybe possibly out of that modified Destino, maybe a top rope TKO. But I think Cold Skull is going to pull off the win here against Kenta. Which leads us now to a very interesting match where once again history is heavily in favor of the double champion, Naito, as it is the flamboyant one, Juice Robinson, sitting at 6 points, taking on the block later, Tetsuya Naito with 8 points. Naito has only dropped 1 loss this entire G1 run, and that is to one of his own padres in LIJ, Sanada. You wonder what he feels now about Juice Robinson, and could this be the biggest win in Juice Robinson's career? Because in previous 3 encounters with Naito, Juice has lost, and 2 of those encounters have been in previous G1s. The first time these two met was back in 2015. Then you look at the fact these two have met each other in the G1 a couple of times, even over an Intercontinental Championship at one point, but he's always fallen short. Juice Robinson has had an incredible start to his G1, but it's been a rocky road since, especially just coming off the loss to Evil. It's really hard to bet against Naito and him trying to define his own destino. But if Juice was to beat Tetsuya Naito for the first time in his career, as he is the double champion, that'd be the biggest win in Juice's career and clearly set up a title match, I would think, before Wrestle Kingdom. But with that being said, I don't think Juice is at that point yet to beat Naito. I feel like Naito is going to continue his run of history just like he did with Yoshihashi, who came super close in his match too. This might surpass the match he had with Yoshihashi, but I still see the result being the same. I'm going with Naito. Which leads us to our main event as the ace of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi, who's already overcome 1 member of Bullet Club, takes on another member. But this time, this guy's got some backup. It's Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Evil. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Evil both sit at 6 points. Overall, in previous history, the Aces has the better of Evil in 3-1 out of the 4 previous encounters, including 2 previous G1 wins over Evil. So as far as G1 history goes, it really favors the Ace, but you cannot count out the external factor of Dick Togo. Truth be told, the Ace overcome Kenta with a red briefcase and all short shenanigans and work in the legs. But I feel like here, Dick Togo is going to help lead Evil to victory. It would be a huge moment, though, for the crowd in Okayama to see the Ace once again lead them out, air guitar concert style, beating Evil and maybe stopping Evil down his tracks once and for all. Even though we know Evil versus Naito is coming up too, and that could be a real deciding match here. So I look at the fact that the Ace has already faced Naito and he lost to Naito. I look at the fact now that Evil has not yet faced Naito during this G1. I look at the Ace right now really still alive in this thing at 6 points, coming off a big time win over Kenta. Will history repeat against this Bullet Club member? Oh man, it was 2015 where Evil first appeared, and literally the Ace has taken him to the limit last couple of G1s. Evil has scored 1 victory though. That was back in the 2017 New Japan Cup. I'm gonna go with the guy though that has been the most consecutive performer in G1 Climax history, and I'm gonna stick with history here. I think the Ace is going to once again surprise us, pull out the upset. Is it going to cause Evil to necessarily tap out like Kenta? No, I honestly see him going for the high five float twice, and that might lead him to victory if he can stop and detain Dick Togo. That's going to be the keys to victory, in my opinion, for the Ace, and if his knees hold up. With that being said, those are all my thoughts. So good luck to everybody tomorrow in the G1 as we prepare for night 12, really less than 12 hours away. And good luck to all 19 competitors that are really alive in this thing. Well, 18 technically, that are alive in this thing. And Yujiro, good luck playing Spoilermaker. With that being said, that's all I have to say for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to the simple review and preview of G1 Climax 30 continued coverage. Sorry again for the technical difficulties in the beginning. You want to know more about me? Know this. I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of ... wrestling. So follow me, Twitter, Instagram, PlayStation, @NFoster1916, Twitch, @NFoster 191625. Keep following this YouTube channel here, youtube.com/C/NoFoster10 for all things wrestling. Shout out to my HW family on Twitter. Upcoming content includes another live simple chat and a reignited edition of AEW Spark this weekend covering the 30th anniversary of Chris Jericho special, the 1-year anniversary preview, as well as looking back at the first year of AEW Dynamite, and of course, highlighting matches, including not limited to the dog collar match that we're going to see tonight. Because AEW Dynamite is literally at 90 minutes. I can't wait. You want to know more about? It's in the description down below, but I keep it simple for you. Support NoDQ, support WrestleJoy, support Team All Elite, and support the Meltdown crew too. And as always, I'd like to close, support pro wrestling, else big and small, support pro wrestling folks, that's the heart of it. And let's keep growing this incredible, diverse, unique, elite, authentic, unscripted, unrestricted wrestling community together. Simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. Hit the bell, know that's video goes on this channel. Hit the subscribe button, help me keep growing this channel as I approach my 2nd year anniversary as a YouTuber. Stay tuned for a live, extended, simple stream regarding that. And I'll be streaming on Twitch this Saturday, Fall Guys and Crash Bandicoot. Shout out to all now 168 of you that's been with me on this fun YouTuber's creators journey, whether you're a gamer, a wrestling fan, or just a simple person like me in your own way too. So until next time, take care, enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure your families. Enjoy wrestling or just enjoy life. Be positive, be safe, wear a mask, cover your nose and face. We'll get through this together. There's a brighter horizon on the future tomorrow. And follow my good friend Cindy G, where I talk to her about wrestling and just, positive vibes on Into the Stratosphere as well. And follow the Bulletcast too. And until the next video, I hope you all just have a wonderful night or day, depending on where you are in this world too. Gokigenyo, sayonara.